Menopausal and perimenopausal women, listen up. It's time to take control of your health and comfort, and Winona is here to help. Winona is a telemedicine company for menopause care who believes that your symptoms are real, important, and deserve to be taken seriously. And for many women, this starts with hormone replacement therapy. Winona's HRT is made with plant-based, bioidentical hormones rather than synthetic ones, so it better aligns with your body to offer relief from hot flashes, weight gain, and other uncomfortable symptoms. 80% of women who use Winona find relief within just 90 days. So, what are you waiting for? Get started today. Visit buywinona.com today to start your free visit. With free shipping and the ability to pause or cancel at any time, your path to wellness has zero obligations. Use code SPRING24 at buywinona.com for 25% off your first treatment plan. That's BYWINONA.com for 25% off. Winona. Menopause care made easy. Summer is the season of hot temperatures, outdoor adventures, and refreshing water activities. Summer is also the season of rough on your feet, causing dry, cracked heels and toes. Introducing Babyfoot, the original exfoliation foot peel that contains 16 natural extracts formulated to remove dead skin cells in 3 easy steps. Apply the booties, relax for an hour, then wash your feet. In 14 days, you've got baby smooth skin and your feet have never been softer. Letting dead skin cells build up over time is hazardous to your foot health. Our professional-grade DIY products, like our original exfoliation foot peel, our men's foot peel, or our moisturizing mask, are some of the best foot care products on the market, created with your foot health in mind. Pamper yourself with a spa day from the comfort and convenience of your own home with Babyfoot. If you want a chemical-free, easy-to-use exfoliating process from the company that created the original foot peel, it's time to treat yourself to Babyfoot. Go to babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24 and get 20% off your first order with Babyfoot. That's babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24.
Hello and welcome to Too Stupid to Live, a podcast that reviews romance novels $5 and under. I'm your host, Becky Feldman, and boy, am I sizzling right now. Not just because the world is in the midst of a dangerous heat wave, so I hear, but also because this is another special episode of TSTL called Hot as Hell with TSTL, where I talk with authors and other folks in the romance world about their latest projects. And who is sweating it out with me today? Why, it is none other than Abigail Kelly, author, bookseller, and host of the fellow frolic podcast Kingdom of Thirst. And she also has a brand new series out called the Protectorate series, and available right now is Fragile Beings, which are 3 prequel novellas to the first book that is coming out in just a few days called Consort's Glory. Listen, there is nothing like getting hot as hell with Abigail. But you know what else is heating up my body? Oh my god, I need more sex innuendos that have like heat in them, so if you can send them my way, because boy am I running out of them. But anyway, so right now I am in the midst of reading The Last Goodnight, which is a riveting romantic thriller by Kat Martin, which is currently out from Kensington Books. I am just loving it, and I can't wait to read the next book in the series called The Last Mile. If you love romantic suspense that has just as much suspense as romance, then I highly recommend Kat Martin's books. The premises are intriguing, and the chemistry between the 2 main characters, they practically define what it means to be hot as hell. You can find more information on the books on the show notes page at tstlpodcast.com. Okay, folks, it's time to apply that sunscreen. Wear those floppy hats, wear loose clothing, because it's time for Abigail Kelly to get hot as hell with TSTL. Great lady. She's a great lady. As are you. Thank you. You're welcome. Abigail.
Despite all my misdeeds.
Despite all your misdeeds, welcome to TSTL. Welcome back. And are you ready to get hot as hell?
I'm so happy to be here. I'm ready to get sticky. I'm ready to get sweaty. I'm ready to get wet. Let's do it.
I'm ready to get thirsty. Ready to get thirsty.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You should always bring some water with you into the sauna. I've told you, Becky. I've told you.
I know. It's like I always pass out from being too hot. but like it's not like too hot, too hot.
But like a hot, like hot.
Yeah,
you gotta really say it from the back of the throat. It means something totally different.
Totally different. Yeah, it's not your typical hot. It's hot, you know.
Ooh, that had some sauce on it that I like. Just like a cat trying to spit up a hairball.
Exactly. Yeah, it's too sexy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very the sexiest. If you ask a furry, they'll agree.
Yeah. Oh, the furries are like 100%.
We love furries. Yeah, we love furries.
Oh
God, I would love to get the furries on my side. Holy shit. Oh my God, their loyalty. Y'all, I mean, I'm here for you. I love you. Please come on over. The water's warm.
Yeah.
I don't have a furry cat, but I could do one for you if I could win, y'all. I don't know if a lot of furries listen to your podcast, Becky, but I'm trying, man.
There are a lot of cute accessories. I was just curious because I was curious and I was like, oh, I wish I were a furry. Because like I'm like, oh, that's kind of, those are cute. You know, I was just like,
I had a furry friend in high school.
Okay.
He was cool. He was nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. His name was Randy.
Cool. Oh, what a great furry name.
Randy was great. Randy the furry. He was awesome. He's a good boy.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I don't remember how we started talking. Hairballs, hot. That's how we got
hairballs.
Here.
Hairballs are hot. Yeah. Okay.
That's
speaking
the tagline of this episode.
Hairballs are hot. Welcome to TSTL. Hairballs are hot. So, okay. Okay. First of all, congratulations, because Fragile Beings is out. You are celebrating a publishment, as you say, as
and publish.
You have been impublished.
Yeah. I've done a publish. I've done a word to put out in world. I've done it. I did. Well, listen, y'all, Fragile Beings has got 3 done books in it. So, you could count it as 3 if you wanted. If you wanted to be particularly generous. It's 3. And
yeah.
I got another one coming out next month, which is a bad choice, but here we are.
So the one you have coming out next month is in the same world as.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes.
And
they're all the same world.
Yeah. Okay. You sent me a copy. Thank you. I love getting books for free. So sexy. It's so sexy.
It's very sexy.
And so do you want to like just give a quick like elevator pitch or synopsis, but like don't worry about it, like I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, if I'm a freaking bookseller, man. If I can also, I'm a podcast. Hi y'all, my name's Abigail Kelly. I host Keen with Hers podcast. I also wrote the new Protectorate books. I am a bookseller at an independent bookstore. I do a lot of things, all things books. I do all books all the time. If I can't give a 30-second pitch of my own books, I have failed.
It's true.
Yeah. So honestly, I think the best pitch for Fragile Beings is a pitch for the series as a whole. So the Fragile Beings is a novella collection. It is 400 pages long. It has 3 novellas. It is set in a world that is very much like our own, except all of the things you can imagine exist in it. So dragons, elves, witches, what all, all those things exist. It's in the near future. It's set in 2044 is when the first story begins. And I did that mostly because I wanted a working public transit system. So everyone's still got cell phones. Cities mostly named the same thing. And there's no climate change because we figured that out. So don't worry about that. But there's a lot of other problems, mainly being that in the world we're living in, it is a post-war period. Something called the Great War ended in the early 1900s, and it left the continental United States pretty fractured. It's 6 territories, each owned by a different faction. The one that we spend the most time in, at least the beginning of the series, is the Elvish Protectorate, and that is owned by the elves. And we've got territory owned by dragons, territory owned by witches, a neutral territory that's mostly just the Rust Belt in Washington, D.C., because I hate that place. It's too wet.
Yeah.
It's gross. Like the brick, though. Good architecture.
Oh, great. Architecture, yeah.
And the world is pretty fractured. So people kind of get along, right? You can cross the borders, not really a big deal and stuff. But people don't really actually get along very well at all, just below the surface. And the ethos of the world is that the people are coming together slowly but surely, and each couple comes together and kind of brings everybody a little bit closer to fixing those fractures. So it's a bunch of fated mate stuff, but it's a bunch of cool science and history and stuff. I've tweaked history a lot, but also not that much. It's very recognizable. And so the Fragile Beings is just basically 3 novellas that kind of introduce you to this world. And I hope they're not too overwhelming, because I realize like that can sound like it's a lot. I've kind of tried to go out of my way to make it not feel like a lot. I want you to be able to just dive in and have a good time, even if you don't care about all the world building stuff. You don't care about alternate history. You don't care about near future. You just care about 2 people boning. I got that for you, fam.
Mhm.
The first one involves a man who turns into an eldritch horror, and they do it in the woods.
That was
So,
hot.
you
Yeah,
know,
I love
it's
that
a good
one.
time. It's a good time.
It's a good time. It's so funny you were talking about like alternate history, because
Yeah.
like this book gave me, do you know Man in the High Castle? I watched the
I
series.
do. I
I got
do.
such Man in the
Philip
High
K.
Castle
Dick.
vibes. Yeah, yeah. Did
I'm
that
so
ever
honored.
cross your mind, or am I like?
Well, I love Philip K. Dick. I
Mhm,
particularly love Man in the High Castle. It's one of my favorite
mhm.
books, and it's a spectacular TV show.
Yeah.
I also love the Changeling series, which is very similar in terms of like keeping the world just recognizable enough that you never feel lost, but changing everything else. I love a near future. I love a near future, but I also love an alternate past. I think combined those things can be so interesting. And I love history and I love science. I don't know anything beyond the surface level of those things. I'm a major enthusiast, not an expert, but I do feel like I know enough to play with the stuff and put it in my books.
Well,
So
yeah. I mean, and the thing is that you also kind of like you can invent your own science,
yeah,
because there's magic in the world. So it's like
just a
there is
little,
just a little, but like
little.
it's one of those things like where it's like, yeah, like
Yeah.
this is your world. You even drew out a map in the
Mhm.
beginning of it, which
Yeah.
and to what you were saying before of like, oh, if hopefully it's not overwhelming. From my perspective, it's not. And if I am able to follow along, that means you did it.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. I was so worried about that, because one thing I don't like about high fantasy in particular is
Mhm.
like I hate being inundated with a bunch of shit that I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like feeling like I have to go to school in the first 3 chapters to figure out who's talking, why they matter, who's, important to who. I just couldn't care less. If I don't care about the characters enough immediately, then it's not worth it. So I wanted to write something that for me felt very much like, I want you to be interested in the world. I want you to be able to see yourself in the world. Where would you exist here?
Mhm.
But also I want you to learn organically through the conversations of the people that you're meeting and through context. That's really, really important to me. I wanted every piece of the world to feel like if you turned a rock over, you would find something new underneath it.
Mhm.
And that's like, some straight up Pepe Sylvia stuff, right? Like I'm behind the scenes, like with my, my string and my
Mhm.
my pins and my, madness. But I don't want you to see any of that. I want it to
Right.
feel very natural.
Well, I'm going to ask you about that
yeah.
now.
Yeah, okay.
Because when I review like fantasy romance on the show, and like we're always talking about like this is such an intense world. There's so many details. I don't know how one does it. Did you come up with the world before the stories, or just like tell me your creative process from like I have an idea to now?
So basically, I don't give a shit about anything except the characters.
Okay.
And like I think doing all the others, honestly, I always say that I write for the joke. I do it for the meme.
Mhm.
Because everything I do like has to tickle me. But the only reason I can do anything that I do, the only reason I can write anything that I write is because I care about the characters. If I don't
Mhm.
care about the characters, then nothing else exists in the world, because I just wouldn't want to be there, right?
Mhm.
So my ideas always start with characters, never starts with the situation, never starts with the world. The very first character in the series that the whole universe kind of, accreted around, right, was Margot Good. And she's the protagonist of the first novel, which comes out August 6th. So the Fragile Beings as a whole acts as a prequel to Consort's Glory. You can read them in any order. I think the novels are a good intro, but whatever. I've gotten both responses. Like, people were like, "Oh my God, thank God that I read, Consort's Glory first," but "Oh my God, thank God I read Fragile Beings first, or else I didn't." So, whatever.
Mhm.
I knew that she was a healer, and I knew that she was a witch, but so I had to kind of think of the infrastructure around her that would make what I knew of her personality and I knew of her life and backstory make sense.
Mhm.
So I knew that she had grown up in this coven. I knew that she had, lived in a modern world. I knew that she came from a really, really insular family that was like super hyper conscious of self-defense and not isolation. What is it when you're like obsessed with like maintaining your borders?
I know what you mean, like Wonder Woman's island. Yeah.
Exactly. They don't live on an island, but they essentially live on an island. They
Right,
are,
yeah. Mhm.
after centuries of being hunted, witches have settled down in the Pacific
Mhm.
Northwest, and they defend themselves viciously.
Mhm.
And what would that make a person into who'd grown up really, really isolated in this situation and who suddenly is thrust out of that situation? And I was like, okay, there we go. Now I have a world that I have to make that fits that.
Mhm.
In the, after that, it was like, okay, who does she encounter? Well, we have some pointy-eared bastards that she's going to encounter.
Mhm.
And the hero of that novel, Theodore, he was originally the villain, actually, which is
Mhm.
hilarious now because he's like the biggest teddy bear ever, literally
Mhm.
but it's so I had to I start with characters, and then the world kind of fleshes it out.
Mhm.
Oh my God, that got away from me. Fleshes itself out
That's
um
cool.
from around them.
So, like, did you have to do any, like, side writing on your own to kind of figure out, like, the rules of this world and the rules of the characters? Or not, like, not
So
rules, like, or biographies of the characters,
yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
well, so honestly, the character stuff I just keep in my head. I don't really do character biographies.
Mhm.
I have a really, really good memory for this kind of stuff.
Oh, I'm sure,
I'm
yeah.
lucky that way.
Well,
Or
it seems
obsessive.
like they're your friends and, like,
Yeah,
you really you care about them, so I get it. I get
I
it
do.
that, like,
I
you
do.
know them in your head. Yeah.
I also but I am once I've realized that okay, I'm doing this world, I then work backwards from what I've already created. So
Okay.
I knew that there was going to be witches, and I knew that it was going to be an alternate history. I actually wrote this world over the course of 10 years almost.
Mhm.
And it was a whole thing, and I have a whole episode of my podcast about it, Consort's Glory, the episode, which is an audio essay where I chronicled the fact that I was in a bombing and how that affected the making of this book. But once I figure out that the world has to be this thing where all the creatures exist and there's this magical system and stuff, it's really, really easy to lose your way and to kind of only do the surface level of stuff. I got a manuscript request for one of the versions of this book like 2 years ago now. And one of the responses I got, it was a no, obviously, was that the world building felt shallow. And I was like, oh, fuck, what do you mean? I got all this stuff. I got all this stuff going on. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, she's right. I don't actually, all I was doing was retrofitting like magical beings to live in our world as it was exactly for us. And that was fundamentally incorrect, because if these people had been alive for all of this time that society was being created, the world would fit them too.
Mhm.
And I realized I was like way, way off track. I ended up gutting the whole thing, completely rebuilding the whole world from the ground up at that point. So I knew where I wanted to end up, and I knew who was there, and I knew what relationships they had. Now I had to go back and I completely scrubbed the entirety of human history. And I decided that, okay, how does any of this make sense? All right, you're going to start with a completely new creation myth, completely new pantheon of gods. That way I can avoid some sticky situations like what would Jesus have been?
Right. Yeah.
Jesus don't exist. Monotheism don't exist in this universe. I just was going to cut that out. Also made things difficult for me in terms of actual writing because I tend to use the word hell a lot, but there's no hell. So
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, should go back and use like Control F in my whole document to find that because I found some sneaky ones that I missed. And so from there I use like a really, really, really simple building block. Now I've done a couple of series now that are like really big alternate histories. The other one is unpublished as of yet, but I have 2 books written for it already called The Unquiet. It's about an alternate history of the United States, where everyone can see ghosts, where the spiritualist movement never ended. That's a whole thing. Just like with that one, I had to think of a really, really simple rule to keep things consistent. Because like if you don't, it gets like so out of hand, and then like it changes, and then next thing you know, book 1 has this rule, and then book 10 it's completely different, and your readers are like, "What even happened here?" And I really wanted to avoid that. So my rule for this one was the creation myth itself. All the gods created all of the beings in the world as a competition between them. And so inherently, all of the beings that exist in the world are themselves in competition with each other. That's it. They all think they're the best. They all think they're the greatest. They all think they're the most powerful. And that has contributed to every interaction every single person has ever had on this planet. And that is why at the time of the beginning of the book in 2044, we are sitting at this point where everyone's kind of like okay with each other, but still very much like, actually, I'm more powerful than you. So don't worry about it. And yeah, so that's it. It's a kind of like Mad Woman's like make the pie and then deconstruct the pie to make the pie again technique. And I don't recommend it. I would be nicer if I could start with the simple rule and then build up and then make a 50-page series Bible as I go. No, that's not what happens. I do that afterwards.
So like when do you like do you use actual like lore? Like, you know, there is like previously published elf lore and dragon lore, like fae lore. How much did that like influence what you came up with?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So that's tricky because I don't think it is entirely possible to not, to not use some. Because readers are expecting some. They're expecting not to be lost. Like if you tell them if you're giving them an elf, they're expecting something that they will at least vaguely recognize. If you give them a fairy, they're looking for something they'll vaguely recognize. You give them a vampire, they're looking for something they'll vaguely recognize. So you kind of can't really get away with reinventing the wheel every single time. At the same time, there is a danger of using certain tropes that are, shall we say, unsavory,
right? That
have troubling connotations, like the whole orc versus elf thing, a la Tolkien, because Tolkien was kind of racist. I did a whole episode on whether orcs are racist, and the answer is Tolkien created them kind of in a racist way. If we're being honest, have they been thoroughly divorced from that pretty much in the modern usage? For the most part, yes. But that remains, it's easy to step into something without realizing it just because it's like, oh, that's what people expect. Whatever. It's just orc stuff. It's fantasy, whatever. And it's like, I wanted to just kind of, if I could, kind of step away from that a little bit.
Totally. Yeah.
But also make them recognizable enough. So my elves are not cookie cutter, polished, wayfish elves. They are, they've got pointed ears and they're super strong and they're super smart and they're super beautiful. True. They're also based on horseshoe crabs and big cats. And like, like they're only carnivorous. They only eat raw meat. And they kick ass, but also they are kind of xenophobic. And at the point of the beginning of Consort's Glory, they are dying out. And it's due to their own kind of reactionary like attempt to save their race, which never works out. When you close ranks, you always fail. So that's kind of like, I used things, but also I wanted to do my own thing. Same thing with demons. Like, somebody asked me, if there's demons in your universe, does that mean there are angels? And I said, no, because my demons are based primarily on the really broad definition of a demon, which is just simply like bad omen, bad entity. And I kind of flipped it in the book. The first hero, he is a demon. He's a shadow demon. To be, he's perceived as being a bad omen because he is under the banner of being created by the god Blight, who's the god of disease. And so people kind of avoid him a little bit. And that's shitty. But like, there we go. That's how I retrofitted that. I didn't want any sort of Christianity leaking in there if I could help.
Right. Of course. Yeah. It's like, how much like deconstructing of these different things did you do in order to like develop your own thing? Did that question make sense?
Yeah. No, like, how much was I like actually actively dissembling the like all this stuff? Honestly, I wasn't doing it particularly actively. Like, stuff specifically with like orcs and dwarves and goblins and stuff. That's a very specific sort of step around those nasty little landmines. That was more thought out. But for the most part, it's kind of just like, how does this fit in this world I've created? Inherently, like, a lot of those tropes don't fit. Like the demons being these like harbingers of death or whatever, only sort of vaguely fit, right? Like the elves, I don't think a wayfish, beautiful but ultimately fragile race would actually survive in the world I've created up to the point where we meet them. I don't think they would have survived the Great War, because they would have gotten their asses handed by the dragons. So it's kind of it's less of a sit down and think like, okay, I really want to have a dragon in this book. How am I going to incorporate things? It's more like, okay, I want to have a dragon here. What does a dragon mean in this world? I don't know. All right, okay, just kind of grab stuff from a bag and throw it down on the table. That's pretty much it. What makes me laugh? I base my dragons on geese. All right, there we go.
Yeah. It's so great is that it seems like with this history that you created with both the gods and the Great War, there could be, you could have a series that's like thousands of books,
Becky, I know. Becky, I know this. My patrons recently, one of them, my dearest Meg, I love her very much. She is called the Burb of the Data because she loves to make spreadsheets. And she decided, after a very quick conversation in the Discord, that she wanted to make a spreadsheet that had a list of all of the side characters people want to have their own books.
Okay.
I am terrified because I know the ones that are going to have their own books. And Becky, I'm telling you right now, if it is not explicitly stated that they are with somebody already, they're going to get their own books, Becky.
Yeah.
Like, they're just, everyone's so hot. I don't know.
That's your fault. You stop making worlds with sexy people in them.
I'm like 70% done with writing book 2 right now. The second novel. And I am like 5 really hot single characters deep right now. And just introducing this book, let alone the people in the novellas who were introduced. In Astray, I had like 5. That was like a 50,000 word, not novella. We're not going to talk about that. We're just going to call it a novella. Like, how did that have like a 50,000 word novella? How to have that many characters who are going to get their own books? Like, that is, it's endless. It is absolutely endless. I have 7 novels planned right now. That's a lie, because I have 10 novels planned.
Oh my God.
Don't worry about it. And then I have infinite novellas at this point.
Would you, and do they all take place in like the 2040s, or would you write any that take place in the past or like the way future?
Yeah. So actually, for the third volume of novellas, which I kind of am breaking them up into volumes in my brain. So like there's this one, which is the prequel volume, and then there's, they're going to be kind of scattered throughout, but like the next ones are going to still be in this kind of time frame. And then the third volume after that is going to be all in the history, these major events in history that happened. And one thing I really like to do is I like the novellas to be about normal people who might have had a hand in something really big happening, but for the most part are just like average Joes.
Those are the most interesting.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I think it's really fun to be able to see a normal person in an extraordinary world.
Yep.
Because then you can imagine yourself there. That's what I've always done, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I love following like a king finding his queen or something, right?
Yeah.
But I'm never going to be anybody's queen. What I can be is the person somebody falls in love with at the grocery store, but with magic.
I mean, there are like in every story, fantastical or otherwise, we do know that there are people in these worlds, whether they're dragons or vampires or aliens or whatever, who are like just doing menial tasks. They're the ones that like run the shop, or like ones that like sweep the king's floor of his, like tower. It's those stories that interest me way more than like, I would love to see one of them be like a main character than like, yeah, okay, marry an orc king. Like, great, great. Do
cool.
That.
Those are awesome. I love that. But like,
but also like there's like a, someone in the kitchen who's like making your soda bread. Like, what's their love story?
What's their love story? And it can be just as epic. And it can mean just as much. I think that's my philosophy, that every single relationship that people enter into brings the world a little bit closer to being a better place. And it is also important to me that you see all kinds of relationships. That all sorts of love is important in the world. I'm only equipped to really tell the direct stories of a small fraction of those. But I want you to see that all of these people, all of these relationships exist in the world directly around the people that we are following. Like that's really important to me. You see asexual relationships, you see like lifetime partnerships, you see, homosexual relationships, you see all sorts. Deeply familiar relationships, you see how they are great, you see how they're terrible. You see how loyalty to your people is wonderful, how it's awful. And that happens in big ways and small ways, with important people and with not so important people. I don't know. I think everyone matters and everyone's hot and they live in this really cool world. And I think that's like, I don't know, it's just fun.
That's so great. I mean, if you're not having fun, then like, why are you doing it? And so, you can tell when you're reading it. I'm like, oh, she's having fun. Because I just like know you and your energy voice, and I'm like, oh yeah.
I cracked a few jokes in there. It was really fun too to have people like who, my patrons, I released everything as serials on my Patreon. So the novellas were released as mini serials. And then the novel has been released as one really long serial that's now finishing this week. And so it's fun to have them now. They're going back and they're rereading because now that they can just like get on Kindle or whatever. And they're like, I forgot that this was funny. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you think so. I thought I made myself laugh.
That's all.
I put chickens in there, and I told a lot of fun jokes, I think.
Oh yeah. It's like very like it's like serious circumstances. Obviously, like someone's chasing you. That's like serious. But I assume. But
I do murders in there. There are murders.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, there are like, but then at the same time, it's just very you. It's very you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. When I decided to rewrite the series for the final time, I was very much like not expecting it to be anything. Because I remember, again, I'd rewritten this like freaking like 10 times. Probably close to 100 rejections on the series from agents. And I was like, oh man, I'd written another series in the meantime. And I was just kind of needing to put something out into the world to just continue to survive as a human being, who needs to eat and sleep and a place and, all those things.
Yeah, do the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I kind of at the last minute in I think it was August, I was like, well, what if I just cut it up and retrofitted the manuscript I have and turn it into, a romance novel that I released on Patreon. I was like, well, I already have it, so that's fine. And then I had this moment where I was sitting down to do it, and it was promising to be maybe a couple of weeks of work. And I sat down and I looked at it, and I had this moment where I was like, what if you redid the whole thing and you remade the entire world? And I was like, oh my God, that sounds like a lot of fun. Because I hate myself. And and then I just went absolutely insane, and I kept absolutely nothing from the first from the draft I planned to use. Negated every sort of convenience that I thought I was, going to use on my behalf, and then it all just, and it's been such a delight to experience the world through readers' eyes too, because it has been really, really nice for people to just immediately be like, okay, if I was living in your world, I would live here.
Yes.
I would do this. I would be here, and I would know this person, and I'd have this mate and all this stuff. And I'm just like, man, joy is so fleeting in this world. It's so good. It's so good to be able to share that with people at last. And also, have something that I think actually feels like a real world. Whereas, I think my problem was when I was writing the initial drafts of this book and this whole series, I did not have the skills to do it justice. I had this really big idea. I just didn't have the skills to do it. Right. And then I had to put it aside, write something totally different that taught me a whole new set of skills, and then go oh, what if I just applied everything I learned to making this world way cooler and way more fun and way more silly?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like there are projects where it's this couldn't have come earlier. You know what I mean? This was the time for it to happen. I needed to live my life and have these experiences, and now is the time. I totally get that.
No way I could have written this 5 years ago. No way. No way. I just, I just didn't have skills. Not at all. You gotta hone those skills. I learned a lot from writing my Ghost series, about just kind of letting your freak flag fly and doing weird stuff with history. And I was like, I found my niche. I've found my niches, alternate histories with smart, sexy women and hunky dudes. And that's it. That's me.
But the alternate history, I think, really sets it apart. I feel like there's so many other books where it's this takes place in the real world, but we're just trying to find ways. The reason that the vampires, they all live underground, so that's why the humans don't know. You know what I mean? But but it must have been so freeing to just be the world's,
Yeah. I was like, why would I put that restriction on myself? I want a vampire to have a jab.
Yeah.
That's so funny to me. They don't. They're mostly criminals. Don't worry about it. But I think no, that's not fair. A lot of them work normal jobs, but a lot of them are criminals.
Right.
We haven't met any vampires yet in the series, but we're going to very soon. I wanted to have a world that felt like a big sandbox that I could just do whatever I wanted with it and have it make sense. I think the temptation is always to just do whatever you want and screw reason and but you can do that, but you have to have a connected thread. So that's where that really important baseline rule comes in that connects everything. If that is consistent, then everything is going to flow. Everything's going to make sense. That's why I can do a novella collection with a demon man and a woman trapped in a jar who used to work in marketing before jar entrapment. And then the next one can be about a weather scientist trying to rescue a dragon. And the third one can be about, sentient fog. That's good. That was my favorite.
When you had to do your overhauls and that must have been just from me having to do it.
Yeah.
That must have been so hard. How hard was it for you to kind of have to be to go back, undo so much. And then also like keeping yourself motivated to do it too.
It was really, really hard in all of the iterations before I did the actual massive teardown.
Right.
As soon as I decided to do the salt the earth, just do something totally new, every time I was trying to keep things, that was when it was difficult because it obviously wasn't working, but I was so attached to like, no, it has to be X to Y to Z. Like it has to be that. I can't do it any other way. And once I freed myself from that, I was like, well, why can't I? Why can't I do that? Why can't I do whatever I want? I can make motivation for anything. I can make anything make sense if I want to. I am all powerful. I am unto a god. And once that was out of the way, it was so much easier. Every iteration before that, it was really, really, really hard. I grew up with this book. This book taught me how to write books, right? And I am so grateful that I like to say I went to college for writing bad books. And it was because I wrote 7 versions of this fucking book. The first version I wrote was almost 700 pages long.
Wow.
And it was trash. It was utter just flaming garbage. And I tried to get that bitch published. Don't worry about it. I knew not to get a 700-page book. I knew that. I cut out like 200 pages, but still it was bad. And I think that I find a certain glee now in just like completely overhauling things, being like, you know what, this isn't working, do whatever you want. Because always it comes out better. Always.
Right. Yeah.
And that's always worth it. I think what got me through those years was just mostly pure like teeth gritted desperation.
Sure. That's a good motivator. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna do it. No one can stop me from doing it. I'm gonna do it. And it helped that I always felt like I was learning with every pass. That was important to me. I felt like if I had stopped feeling like I was improving, I think I would have stopped very soon. Because that's just demoralizing. Every rejection is demoralizing.
Yeah.
But I got a job at a bookstore. The minute I decided that I wanted to be a writer, because I was like, that'll probably help. And it did. And my whole life became books. And then when I decided I wanted to write romance novels, I was like, okay, how do I do that? I threw myself into school of writing romance novels and read every single romance novel I can get my hand on. I learned all about the history of romance novels. I did all this stuff. I wanted to go in as informed as possible. Which obviously can't do everything. Some stuff you just learn by doing.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what kept me going, is this like thirst for improvement and thirst for knowledge, and just being like, okay, I don't know how to do this. Who does? Let me see if I can send him an email. You have to be sort of audacious to kind of to do this thing. And then I started a podcast, and that really helped, because it was like, hey, now I can sit down and talk to these people and be like, not only share my enthusiasm for all of it, right, with somebody who's receptive to that, but also I can sit down and I can actively ask them questions, and I can learn from them, and they can tell me that they went through the exact same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there someone or something in particular that was like the most influential in this process for you? Like, was there another author or person that you talked to that you were like, that led you in this direction?
So I think honestly, the biggest influence, a couple. So my first romance novel I ever read was Kiss of a Demon King by Cressley Cole when I was 13, which, if you've read it, is quite the book to read when you're 13 years old.
Where he bites his leg off? Or no, that's a different one.
No, that's the first one. That's A Hunger Like No Other.
Okay,
yes, that's our dear Lachlan. No, this one is where the Demon King is sexually tortured by an evil sorceress who is his mate. And he can't jizz until she is into then it's a whole thing. It's the whole book's about edging. That's it.
Yeah.
And they fall in love, and it's great. But that was the first romance novel I ever read. So that 13, was at 13. That was a level up. I bought it off of an ad on fanfiction.net using an Amazon gift card that I got for my birthday. And my life was never the same.
There you go.
So Cressley Cole had a huge influence on me, and it's been, let me tell you, it's been a real whopper to have people just completely unprompted by me say in reviews and stuff and message me to tell me that my books read like comparatively to Cressley Cole. I had a moment, had to go lay on the floor. Because she's got a lot of troubling material, as all books pre-2015 have. But they're huge for me. I so full of interesting people and an interesting world that I was desperate to live in, even though it was awful. The world is so terrible. So that was a huge, huge influence. Also, it's got fated mates up and down, left and right, top to bottom, everywhere.
Yeah.
Love that shit. Catnip to me.
Yeah.
And then also this year I read all of Nalini Singh's Changeling books. And they unlocked a door for me that I realized had always been there, which was this love of alternate histories and like I like near future stuff, which again, I love Philip K. Dick. I love Ursula K. Le Guin. Like this stuff that is like, it's always been there percolating. But until I read her books, I was like, oh my God, I can synthesize all of this into a world that is rich and engaging and also sexy as hell. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Now, her books are extremely dark, and that's not the direction I take. But I read her books and I instantly was like, oh, I'm a better writer than I was a month ago. I read all of her books in a month.
Yeah. I believe
myself
it.
Tremendously. There's like 30 of them, and they are all like 400 pages long, and they're all extremely hurtful to you personally. Just they hurt so bad. They're what I call I hearty books because I hearty when I read them.
Okay.
But they're so good, fam.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think those were the biggest influences. And you know, it's hard because I am so beholden to like every romance author who's come before me, right? Like,
oh yeah.
Man, y'all, like you let your freak flags fly so high for me, and it was like a beacon, and I came home. It was so good. Like, thank you for doing all that hard work for me, so I could write my silly little books. It's so good. There's countless, and it all bleeds in. Like, I think that this idea that anyone does anything new is functionally false.
Yeah.
Like my stuff is cool and has its own unique flavor, right? But you know, I'm taking really heavy influence from Changeling books from Cressley Cole, and everybody else I've ever read. I'm certain, you know, I also see a thread of Divinity 2 Original Sin Definitive Edition for Switch in there. So, yeah.
Do you have like a writing routine? Like, you know how there's people like, I get up at 6 a.m. and I write for blah, 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 blah.
Oh, I used to have a really hard writing routine when I had less time to write.
Okay.
So I used to, way back when, I used to get up at 5 and I used to write for an hour and a half almost. I was a nanny full time for many years. And I had to start work at 8. So I wrote as much as I could, and then I, go to work. And then I was also going to school full time. And at a certain point I was doing that and going to school and working at the bookstore and writing books. Yeah. It's a lot. I don't, that like 6 months of overlap are a little blurry.
Sure. Yeah.
I think the only time I've ever like disassociated so hard I blacked out and lost an hour. That's it. That's the one time. Got very little sleep. But I don't really have that hard of a routine now. I mean, my whole life is writing and creating now. So I mean, I still work at a bookstore, but I work like 3 days a week. The rest of my time, like from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed, is dedicated either to writing, doing the podcast, or drawing things for the Patreon. Yeah. I am also an illustrator, so I do like all my own stickers and merch and stuff for that. Today I sent out like, I think it was 35 book boxes that I designed myself, top to bottom.
Yeah.
I was packing for 6 hours because I'm a maniac, and I decided to do really elaborate packaging that I designed myself with like wax seals that I designed myself and all this stuff. So I literally, eat, sleep, breathe the thing I do. So writing itself has become more flexible, in a both good and a bad way, because I think my focus is a little bit more shot than it used to be. At the same time, I think broadly I'm creating so much more, so it kind of balances out. But I try to do 2,500 words a day. That's
Oh,
it.
wow. Okay.
That's my hard limit. I need to do 2,500 words a day.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, whatever.
Okay.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
and it usually fluctuates also where I'm at in the draft. If I'm closing in on the end, I'm pulling 5 to 8 to 10,000 words a day.
Wow.
Because I'm just trying to cross the finish line, and I'm so in the zone, and I can see the end. I'm ready to be done. Because my reward is editing. I love to edit. And I also really like writing, but it is a lot harder because it's just a lot more labor. But yeah, so I don't have that hard of a routine anymore. Besides, like, I need to get to, this number. Got to do it. Either you do it this morning or you do it tonight. Probably you want to do it in the morning, so you're not doing it at 9 p.m.
Right. But still, like, I love you have, it seems like you have such a great level of both, like a great level, but also a kind level of self-discipline. Like, you're not, it's you know what I mean? Like, you're not like slapping yourself across the face, I assume, but like you're also being, being strict with yourself to like a good degree,
I love routine. I love discipline. I love the fact is I love what I do. I love to create this stuff. I've discovered a love for creation of merchandise, and I've discovered a love for like art that I thought I'd lost by doing all of this. And so I while I have a pretty like hardcore checklist in my brain every day of things I need to do, and I do view it as a business and I do all this stuff, it is also like, holy shit, I get to do this really, really cool thing, and I get to share it with people, and I love it so much. And it's just a delight. And so I have tried to learn better self-care habits of like, okay, like today, honestly, I didn't write today. I did all the book box stuff. I stayed up very late doing all the book box stuff last night. I woke up, I met my mailman at my door, and I gave him all the boxes, and I hit this wall of just being like, physically, I don't think I could sit down and stare at my computer today. And I was like, okay, that's my body telling me no. Not worth it. Not worth it. Because you know what it's going to do? I'm not going to be able to write it anyway. And all I'm going to do is going to sit there and get frustrated with the time I've wasted. So I'm going to go take a nap. And then I did that. And then I woke up and I designed more merch. Cool. All right. I've learned to be better about that with myself. I used to miss a lot of meals. I used to miss a lot of sleep. I used to do myself very dirty, Becky.
No, I get it. Yeah. Cause like when you're in a zone sometimes, like, and I've been having trouble with this of like, oh, like I'm going to eat lunch at noon, and then it's like 3:00 and you're like, I told myself 3 hours ago I was going to get up and go eat lunch. Didn't do that. And then just like at the end of the day, you like have a headache and are miserable and moody. And it's like, but it's just so hard to maybe even just feeling so isolated as well when you are working so like individually. You are like, for me, I work at home, and so it is like it is so easy to kind of like get into these like the bad habits of being a creative.
The problem is that no one else is going to do the work for you. So you get into this brain space where it's like, if I don't do it, it doesn't get done. So it's really easy to develop this guilt spiral. And that's how you end up with burnout. That's how you end up feeling like a wrung out sponge. And that ultimately harms you and your production anyway. So taking little breaks now and being disciplined with yourself, both in the way of know when you need to take a break and take those breaks, but also in know when you need to get shit done. If you are really good about listening to those signals and staying on track with that, like, it's okay if things are a week late, right? You are on your own schedule. I guarantee you, if you don't have a boss who's looking over your shoulder, like, my readers won't notice if my novella starts a week later than I personally had planned. I didn't even announce the date. It's okay. It's fine. They won't care. They prefer I ate.
Exactly.
I took a weekend off. It's not that big of a deal. And that's been a whole learning curve for me because I am obsessive. I love to get in the zone, and I love to just blast things out and make something. Like, that's the coolest feeling ever. Ultimately, it's not sustainable. And I'd rather write 100 books in my ridiculous universe than write 5 and then burn out because I did them all in a year.
I get that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were like finished with the books, did you like miss the characters? You know, you were like, oh, I miss hanging out with them.
You know, it's so funny because people ask me like, are we going to see them again? And I was like, yes, absolutely. Because I do miss them. I love them. I love them all. The thing is, I am also aware that they are living their best lives and I don't necessarily want to bother them.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I am going to be I'm very tempted to do a slice of life thing with Artem and Paloma. Because they are the only people so far who would have children.
Yeah.
And I got the idea of a little baby dragon in my head. And I was like, oh, that would be cute. That'd be fun. Very cute, very fun. And that's going to be, I think, my little treat for myself when I finish book 2. We'll see. Because that won't feel like work. That'll just feel like, I don't know, this baby dragon. How are dragons born? Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think about that. Not in eggs. There's no cloacas involved. Not in this world.
No.
But yeah, I do like that. I miss them, but also, you know, they're living a good life. I know that because I gave them their happily ever after.
Right. Yeah.
You know, Elise and Cal are off doing their weird crap, like run around the city, get into messy business. I don't know, catching sleazy dudes trying to pick up chicks outside of a bar when they're too drunk to say no. Like Cal would throw them in a dumpster.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's on one hand, yeah, I do. I miss their voices. On the other hand, I have so many characters.
You have hundreds of books to write, so you better get on it.
So many books. It's so funny when like I have a character who I put on the page and I immediately am like, oh no, oh no. So in the last like 3 chapters of Astray, which is the novella in the middle. So it's the second novella in Fragile Beings. It's about a dragon, Artem, who is lost. He has what's called the roaming sickness, and he's, again, based on geese. And so basically what's happening is something went wrong with the part of his brain that navigates the Earth's magnetic field, and it is essentially short-circuited. It made him feel like he has no place to land. And Paloma, unfortunately, who's the heroine of this, she is a weather scientist. She works at a research station that is also her house on top of a mountain in the Sierras, and she spots him and she reports him because she thinks, oh, somebody will help him out. And what happens is the town goes, no, that's a rogue dragon who could be extremely territorial and destroy our town. We're going to report him, and they're going to shoot him down because we don't really have another option. Like, we live here, we have families here. And she's like, that's unacceptable. And so she hatches this absolutely bug nuts plot to draw this unknown SUV-sized cold fire breathing dragon to her house. And it works way better than she was anticipating, let me tell you. We love Artem. Artem is quite something. He's very happy to be, shall we say, chosen to visit her home. But the last like 3 chapters of that book, it got so fully out of hand, Becky, because like all of a sudden I had Tevas, the Lord of the Dragons, who I knew was going to get his own book. He's been a character for a while. He's a character in Consort's Glory. He's not on the page, but he's mentioned several times. So I knew for sure he was going to have his own book, but he actually appears in this one. So I got to actually meet him, felt like, for the first time. And then like I had 2 of his guards. I had a new elemental that was formed. I had all of the squadron of patrol, which are the basically the police force that oversee the Protectorate. They're mostly made up of elves. I had this really hot scarred elf who is the captain of this patrol unit who pops in there. And then I had the shifters who also live in the town, who suddenly turned into like somebody I want to actually maybe explore in the future. So I had, in the last 3 chapters, I had like 6 people who all need their own books. That's a novella.
Yeah.
Like the novels, way worse. Endless.
Yeah.
But I am to this day still, there's only like one other person who cares about the captain of patrol, Captain Aemon, and I'm like really mad about it because I think he's very hot. But then again, I know what's going on with him, so
right,
I have inside knowledge.
It's like you're like, oh, I did this myself, but this is also your happy zone. You're like, this is like, honestly, like, I was like gonna have you on to say congratulations on the, publishing the books, but also congratulations on like having a continue, like, to be doing something you love. Like, and I know that like sounds like cheesy and stuff, but the fact that like you just like, it feels like you just like landed this like super great like project, and like just doing it seems like the reward in itself for you.
It feels like it. Like, I'm so tickled every time. I'm so excited to write the next book.
Mhm.
I am thinking 3 books ahead at any given moment, because I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to write that person and that person. Oh, I can't wait to write that. Like, I'm as I'm writing book 2, I'm thinking in my head about writing the next novella. And then as I'm thinking about writing the next novella, I'm like, okay, how does that feed into the next one? Who am I going to meet in that one? I don't know. Like, I plan a certain level of plot. Like, I know vaguely what's going to happen, and I know who's in it, and I know what their motivations are. But beyond that, I don't really know. So it's really, really fun to have like this world unveil itself as I'm writing, and I go like, I didn't know that person was going to be there. I didn't know you existed. Thank you for introducing yourself to me. This is so cool. Also, how dare you? Now I've read about a book about you too. Damn it.
I'm such a good writer. I don't know.
I'm so good at this. It's so vexing. Someone give me smelling salts. It is fun though to have people who I like. So and I know I've done this to myself, but it does very much tickle me that I've had like several people DM me to ask me when the like elemental who appears at the end of Astray is going to get her own book. She doesn't even have a line. Not one line. She is unconscious. And she like is caught by a dragon who immediately is like, and all you get is him closing his wings around her, and that's it. And everyone's like, hey, when's their book? Hey, when am I getting it? And I'm like, did you miss Captain Aemon? He's Southern.
Well, that always happens when I read someone's book and I'm like, oh, okay, well, in the next book, the main character is going to be this person. And they're like, no, that's not at all. Like, and I'm like, really?
Yeah. It has been. So I announced on Patreon what book 2 is about, and the characters and everything, and the synopsis and the cover and all that. And it has been very, very fun to have people speculate what book 2 is going to be, because it could have been. It could have been pretty much anybody. And I feel like by the time you get to the last chapter, you're like, oh, I know who it's going to be. I feel like it's pretty obvious. But everyone who has asked me prior to releasing that has been like, is it going to be Kaz? And Kaz is someone who appears in the last book in the novella collection. He is a half orc. He is Theodore Thaddeus Solborn's brother, his half brother, and he is the hottest orc alive.
Sure.
He is so sexy. He's so beautiful. Everyone loves him. He desperately does not want to mate, and of course, obviously, that's not going to work out how he wants it. But everyone asked. Everyone was like, "Is it going to be Kaz?" I think it's going to be Kaz. It has to be Kaz. It has to be Kaz, because everyone loves Kaz. And I'm like, it could be. There's also like 5 other people who are just get just as much screen time. So could be.
Yeah. There you go. What are you reading right now, or like into right now? If you're, because I know like right now, like a lot of my friends are like, we're in a reading slump right now, and like that I was in a slump because I just had COVID and I just like couldn't read anything. But if you are or were recently, what are you into?
I recently did a little bit of a comfort reread of all of Cressley Cole's books.
Oh, that's so nice. It's full circle, man. That's
I know.
Cool. Yeah.
I was like, my brain was so fried from the launch and from everything that I was like, I just can't. I didn't have the energy to like seek out something new, which at this point I read so much that like going to find something good and new is like, it is an endeavor.
I agree.
It is tough. You got to really sift through it. Like sometimes I'll download like 6-7 books and read, the first 50 pages of all of them and not read any of them because none of them are what I'm looking for.
Or it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really hard. I mean, we live in an age of, massive content creation, and that is wonderful and also terrible because that, there's a lot of content I don't want out there that I don't want to read. And it's hard to figure that out until you actually try it. I like to think that I give people a good shot right before I say, oh, this isn't for me. But
yeah, I guess like, I mean, I'm the same way. Like I just realized during the pandemic, like, oh, I've never reread a book just for myself. Like I've reread, maybe a book for for my podcast or like whatever, but like I'm never reread. Suddenly the pandemic happened and I was like in a sad mood because life is hard. And like, I just kept thinking, I was thinking about one of my favorite books I've ever read, Cold, Cruel Lies, Tony Anderson. And I was like, what if I just reread it? It's my favorite book. And lo and behold, I reread it. And it was like, I have the book, right? I own it. And I can do that.
I can experience this again. It's amazing.
Exactly. It's absolutely amazing for like no other reason than to just like be in the world again because it makes me happy. It's like, and it's mind boggling to me. And I feel like, people have discovered that, decades ago. But for me,
well, like, I think it's also hard being in the like content creation space, right? Where we make content out of what we read.
Yeah.
It is hard to justify, I think, going back and rereading something that's not specifically for, say a podcast or whatever. However, I completely threw that in the bucket because I love to reread books. I love to reread them. I love to experience the world again and get that like comfort of like writing that I love in a world that I love with characters that I love. I also love being able to just be like, hey, that part's not my favorite. Skip. I know what happens. Let me get to the part where they smooch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like that's great. I love that. I love that power. And I just, I reread a book like once a week. Like I love it. I think it's great. I reread books that I'm even like lukewarm on because I'm just like, you know what? This did something for me. I'll read it again. Sure.
Yeah. Because I think like the search of like it's like almost like you're trying to like catch a high almost. Of, like,
you want that serotonin.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, I started a new book yesterday and it's like, am I feeling like I want to give it another chance, but like, just sometimes you just like, you kind of know
it's not doing it. It's not
doing it. And like, it's, and I have a feeling like, I think it's more me than the book itself. Like
can be.
I think so. Like, I feel like it's just maybe the mood I'm in. Like I'm feeling like, whether I'm feeling like tired, and impatient. And it's like, this book has to be so good. I have to not want to do what human beings do and sleep. You know what I mean?
It's really hard. I don't know if you ever get this feeling. I talk about it on the podcast a lot. When I read a book that makes me grateful to be alive, like it is a transcendent experience.
Yeah.
Because I just get like, I have to put the book down and I sit there and I think about like the fact that in all of planetary history and all of cosmic history, I'm existing in this split second of a split second of a split second where I and this book exist at the same time and I get to experience it. That is so fucking cool. Yeah. How is that even possible? I get to do that. And then I get to keep this story with me forever. That lives with me now for the rest of my life. That is incredible. Most books I read aren't like that, but I am surprised by the frequency of how often I do feel like that. Or sometimes I read a book and I'm like, this is some fucking wild ass bullshit, y'all. You committed to the bit so hard. I love it. Take me there, babe. Like Allie McKay's books. I don't know if you've seen in my podcast, but recently I've done a mini series based on her books. They're all about Scottish ghosts and things. And her rules, nuns rules, Becky. Nuns. It's all about ghosts can do whatever the fuck they want. They can have bodies when they want. They can open up alternate dimensions when they want. There's some strange cosmic thing happening.
Yeah.
Also, all of the women are American women from Philadelphia who hate living in the city and they're ready to be in Scotland and they're obsessed with what's under men's kilts. It's gross. I love these books. Are they the most well-written books ever? No. She called a clitoris a lust-spending nub in one of her books, and I have to live with that knowledge just as surely as I get to live with the good stories.
Exactly.
That being said, commit to the bit, baby.
Oh yeah,
when you're going, it.
Oh yeah, I recently, I put out the episode today. Katie Roberts,
Dragon's Bride.
Dragon's Bride.
Yeah, it's out.
That's that when you were talking about like the level of commitment, like it's like in like improv where you always talk about like, oh, you have to heighten, you know, like,
Yeah.
and it's
Yes,
like
and
you got to yes and this shit.
yeah.
And like, so she introduces a character that's two penises, like
Yeah.
you gotta yes and it. And like, and it's like if you're starting at like a 100, you have to do 200 next.
Gotta
And
ramp it, baby.
when you do it, I'm like I feel like I'm like in bed reading and I will do like a loud shriek. Like I will do like a loud, like where I'm at, like, you know, like if I were at like a Chippendale show, I'd be like, ah!
Yeah, I'm a loud reader too. I talk to my books where like something will happen. I go, no, you can't with that, ma'am. Ma'am.
Yeah.
That was me reading Clan of the Cave Bear, me just yelling, who hurt you, Gene? Who hurt you?
Yeah.
When Neanderthal broke your heart. Yeah, don't read those books. They're bad. Yeah, I definitely like, I don't know. I think it's so great. Reading's so great. And people are doing such good work out there. And there's so many good books. And it is food for the soul.
Yeah.
Particularly right now. I mean, always, but right now, shit blows, man. So like, it's really, really nice to live in a world where like things are okay. And like, there are certain things that I'm more sensitive to now that I'm just not in the mood for in a lot of romance novels at the moment in the current climate.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But yeah. Not it currently. Like there was a so I just did a couple episodes on Cressley Cole, and we covered Wicked Deeds on a Winter's Night, which is about a witch and a Lycae who's a werewolf. And at one point he's trying to figure out if she's actually his mate or not, or if she has just accidentally magically tricked him. And the only way they can concretely figure this out is the fact that a Lycae can only impregnate his mate. So he endeavors on this plot to get rid of her birth control patch. And I was like, I don't know. Right now?
Yeah. It's well, even like for me right now I'm going down my spiral of like the even accidental pregnancies right now. I can't even read. You know,
it's a little different, doesn't
it's hitting different,
different,
and I just can't, like, I don't want that in my happily ever afters, right? I mean, I'm more of a happily for now fan because hot take, happily for nows are happily ever afters.
They are.
That's my hot take.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like seeing like you know, there's an accidental pregnancy, which I know that a lot of couples have had that, and it's very exciting and can be very positive. But right now, just knowing the reality
hits a little different. And that's honestly one of the reasons that I don't really read or write a lot of contemporary romance. I don't write any contemporary romance, but I don't read almost any of it just because I don't really want to live in this world right now. I would like to live in a place that's a little bit kinder, or at the very least more interesting. So, you know, that's okay. I think we all cope differently. I know that there is a lot of people out there who are looking now for books that directly address the things we're going through,
right?
Because it helps them, and that's more power to you. If you feel like you're stronger than I am, I would like an escape, please, 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 little bit of an escape. And it's fucked up too that like for me personally in my universe, like none of my characters are ever going to be like sexually assaulted. That's just something hard. No.
Right.
We live in a world too much of that. I don't feel like I need to put it in mine. That being said, I'm like, but murder still happens, you know? So like, I don't know. It's not a perfect world because then it wouldn't be interesting. But there's some things that we can choose to live without for a little while.
Totally. And like, even for me, like this is in no way compared to anything that's more serious, but like in California, we're having a drought. And like, it's very scary. And they're like, and so when there's shower sex going on, I get very like, and like, and because I'm like if we weren't going through a drought right now, like maybe this would be enjoyable, but like, I'm like, you know, I get very self-conscious when like, you know, or like there was one that I read where they didn't even get in the shower. They turned the shower on so no one would hear them in the bathroom. And I'm just like, could not get into the scene because I'm like, oh my God, they're wasting so much water.
I mean, it's the same thing as like why I struggle with billionaire romances. Like, unless that man is outright a criminal, I can't get behind it because you're asking me to sympathize with a man who has a pool in his basement. Yeah. And I'm like, honey, we're in a drought. Like, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that you're a good person. No billionaire is a good person. Like, I can't sympathize with you as a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me that you murdered somebody to get that money, and then we can talk, because then at least we're both on the level of that you're a shitty person and you shouldn't have that money.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can exist there on that plane. I will take a villain over a sympathetic billionaire any day.
Yeah, I would need I would want for me, I would be before this story gets started, billionaire, I need to know if your workers are unionized.
Yeah.
I need, you know what I mean? I need to know all of those answers before I can
I need to know where you got your starting funds from. How rich is your daddy? I need to know how did you rise to the top? Who did you hurt? I need to know these things.
Yeah, and what other companies do you outsource to? Do those other companies are they employing child labor? You know what I mean? I just and if you answer no, you're yes to any of those.
But the moment you make that man a vampire, I'm like, I don't need to know any of that. I don't need to know anything.
If he was a crazy mafia, even in mafia perspective, alien, mafia, vampire, totally fine. But if you're going to be a real, if this is a contemporary, takes place in reality, billionaire,
I can't. Or royalty, in the real. I was having this conversation with myself today where I was taking my dog for a walk and I was thinking about how much I fucking hate royalty, and I was like, they're terrible. Why would this is an awful institution? And then I'm like, Abigail, you have royalty in your books. Theodore is the sovereign of the EVP, which is the Elvish Protectorate, which is most of the West Coast, and some of the South. And he is essentially a king. He's called the sovereign. His family rules. And I was like, why doesn't that bother me? And then I was like, because he's a fucking elf. That's why. And also he treats people well, and everyone has health care, and gets a basic citizen stipend. So yes,
they have elf care. Elf health care. I'm so sorry. It was
I love it. I love that for aspect. Thank you. So it's okay. Whereas when I think of, Prince William, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No. I'm good. Thanks though.
Yeah, I get that. I think it's why people are into monster romances, or just think just out of this world shit right now.
Take me there, baby.
We want to be out of this world.
Please just take me away. Edward, I've got Edward staring up at me right now. Edward, take me away.
Yeah. We just want to be away.
Yeah. I just don't want to do it anymore. There's difference between having conflict in your books and having real world stuff in your books. And at this point in my life and the things that I need and myself and my mental health, I'm like, I don't want to do that shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about COVID. I don't want to. And I understand that there is an argument that is a bad philosophy. That is how we ended up erasing pretty much the Spanish flu. No one wanted to talk about it in the 1920s, and then we forgot about it more or less, and we ended up with a new pandemic, and we had no way to deal with it.
Yeah.
I understand this. Also, I'm reading fucking romance novels, and I don't want to talk about COVID. I don't know. I'm a woman of complexity and layers, much like a ogre.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's it's interesting to think about, especially now, where people are can someone point to a romance novel where someone has an abortion in it?
Yeah,
and this is no a slight against that topic or whatever, but people come to read romance for a variety of reasons, whether it's
so many
escapism
reasons,
or even to just understand the world now, and I think there is something out there for everyone. And I just feel sometimes when people are I just don't, I mean, this is the dumbest thing ever said, but I don't like infighting in the romance world. But I particularly don't like people criticizing readers. You know what I mean? Just people who are just buying a book and reading it, it's we're like, you're making it for us. And it's like, just like, when you're just like criticizing why someone is reading and like then all of a sudden they're like being blamed for the pandemic, it's like, wait, what? Hang on a
Yeah.
second.
I think that it's all an ecosystem. And if
Mhm.
you start introducing poison into the ecosystem, it gets back to everybody. I don't care
Yeah.
who you're directing it at. I don't care who started it.
Mhm.
It this like tendency to dogpile or to try and pick a villain of the day is really
Yeah.
upsetting to me. I don't enjoy it at all.
Mhm.
It's a struggle also, like just from like the author side or the content creation side. It's like we're expected to put ourselves out there on social media and all this stuff all the
Mhm.
time, and it's really hard for me to want to do that when all I see all the time is people just picking at each other and readers picking on authors and authors
Mhm.
dogpiling on readers and
Yeah.
all of this stuff. And it's really weird. It's like, can we all settle on one villain in that it's the publishing infrastructure? Can we
Right.
fix
Yeah.
that? If we
Mhm.
focused our attention on that, oh boy, we could get some things done.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that there aren't valid points on both sides. There absolutely are. There's always a valid point somewhere buried in there.
Mhm. Yeah, but
Usually it's lost very quickly, but
yeah,
it's in there.
it's also like, I mean, I like, again, like I need to ask people to tell me like
Yeah.
what the romance drama is of the day, because I just can't get on TikTok, whatever.
No.
And it just like seems like, yeah, like it feels like a pick your battles kind of thing. Like sometimes like, it's just like a pick your battles thing. And then if you say something, it's like it feels like the most dramatic thing is what someone says in response to someone else. And then
Yeah.
that's like, and then I'm just like, oh my
Oh, yeah,
God.
no.
Like, remember when we could
No.
just like get a book from the airport and read it and then move on with our lives? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And on one hand, it's like it's a double-edged sword, right? Because it's like
Mhm.
this proliferation of book media is wonderful because it means that books sell, that people are
Mhm.
finding books, that readers are finding books. It's wonderful. That's
Mhm.
so amazing. Authors who never would have gotten a chance are getting chances now,
Right.
and finding their people, and it's wonderful. On the
Mhm.
other hand, okay, the person reads the book, they're going to talk about it.
Right.
Or the person who wrote the book is going to talk about it, or whatever,
Mhm.
and that is happening hundreds of thousands of times every single day. And everyone's just shooting off their opinions left and right on the
Mhm.
internet. And like it's a wider issue, obviously, of the
Yeah.
internet as a whole, and as the proliferation of social media and all this stuff. It's a
Sure.
much,
Sure.
much bigger problem. Specifically the romance industry, we have a tendency to absolutely dogpile people, like really just straight up kick one person in the shins over and over and over again until they don't
Mhm.
have shins anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not a fan of that. I
Same.
have a lot of opinions. I have a
Mhm.
podcast. I've had bad opinions. I've said insensitive stuff on the podcast, which I wish I
Mhm.
hadn't said. All this kind of stuff. You just do. You're a human being. At the same time, on the internet, when I have to write it down, I look at it and I go, does anybody need my opinion on this thing?
Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
let me just write about, I don't know, toast or something. Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Or
I
the
mean, like,
erotic mouthfeel of cream cheese.
ooh, cream cheese.
Yeah, exactly. See,
Yeah.
that puts something positive into the world.
Like I would rather read a heated debate on the
Yeah.
mouthfeel of cream cheese
Yes.
than like
Yes, absolutely, yes.
because like I don't know. I feel like, by the time like I think of my tweet, it's already been said. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's
it's
like
already been said
nothing.
2 times. Like, I don't care. No one
Yeah.
cares.
No
I
one
don't know.
cares. Yeah.
It's fine. Listen, y'all got this handled. You don't need me. It's fine.
Yeah.
Let me
Mhm.
just sit over here and write my dumb books. And it was really important to me when I put out my books for my ARC readers and stuff. I included the note that I was like, hey, I know that it's so interesting. The difference between the book industry in the traditionally published world that I'm involved in through book selling
Mhm.
and the indie stuff has
Mhm.
been fascinating to me, specifically the ARC stuff. Like there is a really, really toxic thing going on with ARC copies and
Mhm.
expectations of people who read them and who get them from authors. And it is wild.
Yeah.
As a podcaster and as a bookseller, I get dozens and dozens of books every single month
Mhm.
that I don't fucking read or ask for, or like even the ones I do ask for, I don't necessarily read. Like,
Mhm.
um, And that's just the way it is. That the expectation is like a publisher shoots you a book and they hope you do something with it, right?
Yeah.
They're not actually expecting anything because they're sending out many, many, hundreds of those books out. But in the indie side, it's been really interesting to have, like, I got a message from somebody who wrote me this really, really long email that was like, I'm so, so sorry. I'm not going to be able to review your book by the time the release date comes around. I'm going to have to like leave your street team and like do all this stuff. And I have like family stuff going on, this really long message. And I was like, that's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to blacklist you for not doing this. I sent out like 50 arcs. I expect maybe 5 people to actually review them. That's the game. It cost me nothing to do this except for a couple of minutes. It's okay.
Yeah.
But part of that for me was like making sure that the people who received my books know that if they don't like it, they're under no obligation because they got a free book to give me a positive review. I think like that should be obvious, but also I don't think it's obvious. I think there's a subset of internet author, right, who thinks that because they give someone an arc that it is expected that they get nice reviews all the time from everybody. And I'm like, that's not how it is. You don't like it, you got to do it. Because that is a healthy ecosystem. We should be able to talk about these things without fear of recrimination.
Totally. Yeah. Because I think like with social media, like I feel like it not even just like author and reader, but it's like creator and whatever. We think we're friends. Like, I mean, and I mean this.
Ooh, the lines are so blurry.
The lines are very blurry.
Blurry.
And so it seems like from the from the creator's end too, of like, I'm putting this out there. You have liked everything that I've done. Why did you give me criticism? Like, I understand.
Are we not friends anymore? Like,
exactly.
Well, then I don't need to give you any more arcs or whatever. And it's like,
well, were we friends to begin with? Like,
no.
it's weird. Yeah. Cause it's like,
it is weird.
It's like, I was so excited when Beverly Jenkins replied to one of my tweets. And for a day I was like, we're best friends, la, la, la. And then I'm just like, no, wait, what am I talking about? Like,
my close and personal friend, Beverly Jenkins, is true. Miss Bev. I don't know. It's really, social media has made things extremely complicated in every aspect of life. Definitely in the, romance novel publishing industry, it's made things real weird. It's made things really, really cool. It's made things really, really bad. I don't know. I don't have the answer.
I mean, we found community. We found each other. Like I wouldn't, without social media, like I wouldn't have the friends that I have in like the romance podcasting world and the romance world. At the same time, like there are also like these insecurities I have as a reader, as a podcaster, or as a human being because of social media, and not just in the romance world, but just like in my career and my life and all this stuff. So
it's really, and honestly, the fear of like saying the wrong thing is very real. Like of being a fucking idiot and saying something or something being misconstrued or whatever. Like, because we're all human and we all say dumb shit. Again, I've said a lot of dumb shit. All you can do is try and be a better person every day and be more conscious every day. And that is hard to see on Twitter.
Exactly.
It's hard to see the human there who's trying or not. There's a lot of people who aren't, but like, it's weird. It's all weird world. I just like writing books, fam. I like writing books. I like talking to people who like the same things I like. I'm so happy that I get to do this thing and I get to meet the people I meet. I mean, I wouldn't be talking to you if I hadn't decided to do this absolutely whack thing. Like the podcast has brought so many wonderful people into my life, countless wonderful people. My like acknowledgements at the end of Concert's Glory, like almost ran like 10 pages. There are so many people I have had the privilege of interacting with now because of this, because I started the podcast and because I decided to do some really audacious shit and email people I shouldn't have emailed. And it's been, the rewards have been so wonderful. And I am choosing to live in that zone. And I could do more on social media. I could always do, a lot more, but the fact is I don't enjoy that side nearly as much. And, that's okay. I hope people find my books, right? Like, I don't know. People who like them seem to really like them. So,
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like, this kind of goes back to, like, it's also about self-care. And I think,
Yeah.
like, if like,
Can't do it.
if it's gonna just drive you up a wall, like, that's gonna it will affect the stuff that you like to do, and I know that would be terrible.
I'd like to write my books. I'd like
Yeah.
to do that. Everything else is secondary.
Mhm.
If I can eat, that is preferred.
Exactly.
I would like to be able to do that by writing books.
Mhm.
And so far that's been going pretty good. But it's all a mess out there, and I would like to live in my world that, yes, does have murder, and does have a lot of bad stuff.
Mhm.
But for the most part, is full of people who love each other and who are trying their best. And
Mhm.
everyone is making mistakes constantly, but
Mhm.
a lot of the mistakes are made because they love the people they love so much. That is at the heart of everything. I think it was important to me, for me personally, to have a positive message at the heart of it, that it wasn't
Mhm.
just the world is awful and the only light that exists is between two people who find each other in the dark. There are so many romance novels that are wonderful that are written like that. Mine was not going to be that way. Mine was
Mhm.
going to be about a core of people who love each other romantically and not, and how that can be wonderful and how it can be awful and how it binds us all together in so many different ways.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think also, I got cool shit in there, like sentient fogmen and women trapped in jars
Yeah.
and elves that only eat raw meat. Also, a 12,000 word cunnilingus scene in Consort's Glory. You're welcome.
I can't wait to read that. Oh, I'm excited to read that.
Did I not
Oh,
send
wait,
that
did
to
you
you?
send it to me? Oh my gosh. I think you might have. Yes. And then I might have
I did.
downloaded it wrong. You probably did. Oh my God. I'm the terrible. Speaking of terrible ARC readers, me.
Oh,
You
you still got time, baby. It doesn't come out until
That's true.
August 6th.
Yeah, that's true. I do have time. Oh my God. Yes, that's right. Yeah, you did. Well,
If I didn't,
yeah,
message me. I'll send it to you.
yeah. Of course. Well, I
I
mean,
sent out so many. I don't remember.
yeah, I get it. And listen, you hustle. That's what you got to do. But listen, it's always such a delight to talk to you. You know that.
I love being here with you, Becky.
Yay. And so remind us when Consort's Glory comes out. Yeah.
Yes. So Fragile Beings is out now.
Yes.
It's in paperback. It's on Kindle Unlimited. It's you can buy it on Kindle. It's important to me that it be as accessible as possible to as many people as possible, just because, man, it's hard out there. So
you're a nice person.
I try to make it try to make it as accessible as possible. I want people to read it. I don't care about how much money I make. However, Consort's Glory, which is the first official novel in the series, that comes out on August 6th. And that is about a witch who is a healer. Her name is Margot. It opens up with her house being blown up. And the various things that happen after that. A lot of shenanigans, a lot of misunderstandings, fated mates. I think it's good. People seem to like it. Everyone who has read it so far has told me that Teddy is their new book boyfriend. So
I think that's the highest compliment. Highest compliment.
I think so, because I don't know how I'm going to top Teddy. I'm real worried about it.
You just like go out on your first book. Like,
I'm so worried about it. Like the next one, I'm sitting there like, are people gonna like him as much as they like Teddy? I don't. The next one's a real daddy, so it's gonna be good.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, Abigail, thank you so much again. This was so fun.
Thank you for having me, Becky.
Too Stupid to Live is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. For more podcasts you'll love, visit frolic.media/podcasts. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of your day.